Well, I want to start off before we dive into individual commodities to look more broadly at the commodities sector as a whole and ask what are the main themes and trends that you're watching at the moment when it comes to commodities that you think investors should be paying attention to. And Lee, I'll start with you on this one.
Okay, Jesse, I think one of the big thematic elements surrounding global commodity markets today is the fact that commodities in general, and that it's almost all commodities, remain in what we'd like to call a radically undervalued state with no investor interest whatsoever. And the thing is that disinterest has produced the tremendous opportunity that exists in these markets. And what's interesting is I'm a firm believer that we're repeating the period from the mid 1960s all the way to 1971 to 1973, and then we'll repeat the 1970s commodity bull market in general. But if you remember, in the late starting in the late 60s all the way into the early 70s, we had an investment backdrop that was very, very similar to today. Back then, you had the development of the Nifty 50, which is, almost a direct mirror of what is going on today, first with the FANG stocks and then with the Magnificent Seven today. And no one had any interest in what was going on in the underlying commodities, even though radical things were indeed taking place. And then two events came, black swan events came upon the investment scene. One is that Nixon in the summer of 1971 removed the U.S. from the Bretton Woods gold exchange standard and let gold float freely. And that started a huge bull market in gold, which at the time was not really recognized as the impact of what that huge move in gold, what it represented. And the craze in financial stocks continued with the Nifty 50. And then what happened is that in September of 1973, we had the Arab oil embargo, and oil prices literally in 1 week went from $3.50 up to $13 to $14, which was a huge shock to the global financial system. And I think that we're somewhere between 1971 and 1973, and we're seeing the parallel move in gold. Gold has entered into a bull market just like it did in 1971. It's telling you something is happening. And it's telling you we're getting closer and closer to a huge change in investor psychology towards commodities, and the recognition that they're radically undervalued and a new bull market is about to start.